Hello and welcome back to another full step-by-step PC build guide, and today I'm going to be showing you how to build a PC in the latest case from DeepCool. This is the CH160 Plus. Now you're already thinking I've already covered the CH160. This is a new revised version of the case, and the Plus gives a clue to what it does. You can fit more in it. So motherboard support is now up to micro ATX, you can fit larger GPUs, and you can now fit a 240mm IO at the top of the case, and I'm going to be showing you all of this today. So let's make a start by taking a detailed look at this case. So despite the fact that you can now fit more in the CH160 Plus, it's still going to be nice and portable. We've got a nice handle on the top allowing you to lift the case up and move it easily. To remove our tempered glass side panel, there's two thumb screws at the back we're going to need to remove. And once we remove the thumb screws, we can slide the panel backwards and lift out to remove it. It's the same story for our other side panel. Remove the two thumb screws at the back, and then we're able to tilt the panel out from the back, pull it backwards and remove it. To remove our top panel, we need to remove the two screws on each side. And then with the screws removed, we can simply push the top panel up from the back. And that's going to allow us to remove it from the case. And taking a look at the underside of the top panel, you'll see it does have a removable dust filter. We can simply get our finger into here to pull the dust filter out for cleaning. So at the top of the case, we've got a removable fan stroke radiator bracket. And on this bracket, you are able to mount up to two 120mm fans or up to a 240mm radiator. So this bracket is held in place with 5 screws. So once all the screws are removed, you can slide the bracket towards the side of the case and lift it up to remove it. At the rear of the case, you can fit a single 120mm fan or radiator, while at the front it's possible to fit either a 120 or 140mm fan. If you want to go with a 140mm fan, you are going to have to use an SFX power supply. So your power supply is going to be mounted at the front, hanging down from this removable bracket here. And the case is compatible with both ATX and SFX power supplies, and you've got mounting holes at the top for both. So to remove the bracket, there's 2 screws on the side and 2 screws on the top that you're going to need to remove. Then when all the screws are removed, the bracket can simply be removed from the case. And because we're going to be installing our power supply at the front of the case, we're going to need to use this cable extension to power our power supply. And you can see the other end of the cable runs to the back of the case. In terms of our side I/O, we've got a power button, 2 USB Type A ports, a single Type C port, and a combined headphone and microphone jack. So it is possible to remove this side panel with our I/O module in it. It's held up by 1 screw at the side and 2 screws at the back. We just need to loosen up the cable ties, securing our cables to the back of the case. And then we're just going to push the panel at the back outwards to the side. That's then going to allow us to pull it backwards and then lift it up to remove it from the case. And you can see we've got our case accessory box at the bottom. And you can see in here we've got plenty of Velcro cable straps and cable ties, and you're going to be able to keep all your screws nicely organised. And now that we've got the case emptied, you can see we've got a full-length dust filter on the front. Not the easiest to remove, but if you get your hands in here, you can pull the filter out. And then likewise in the bottom of the case, there's a full-length dust filter. You can simply get your hand in at the back to free it up. In terms of motherboard support, the case supports motherboards up to micro ATX, and if you want to go with a CPR cooler, the maximum height supported is up to 164mm. You'll notice there's no additional cutouts, so you're not going to be able to use motherboards with back connectors. And in fact, if we go over and take a look at the other side of the case, you'll find that there's no space at all at this side, and all cable management is designed to be done in the main body of the case. So you can see at the rear of the case we've got 4 horizontal expansion slot brackets, and in terms of graphics card support, the maximum length supported is up to 342mm. Now obviously if you do want to install fans at the front of the case, you're going to have to take the fan thickness away from your GPU support length. So at the front of the case, down beneath your power supply, is your drive mounting slot. In the case accessory box, you get these 2 brackets, and you're able to use these to mount either a 2.5-inch or 3.5-inch drive or a fan. So taking a closer look at the brackets, the holes are all labelled. So if you're using a hard drive, you're going to use these middle holes. The next 2 holes out are for 2.5-inch SSDs. Then we've got the holes for a 120mm fan, and then the holes for a 140mm fan. So what we're going to do is line the bracket up with our drive, and you'll see it lines up with the screws labelled SSD. And then we'll secure each bracket with 2 of the motherboard screws with a little lip around the outside. And then you can bring the bracket into place at the bottom of the case and slot it into place at the front. And then you get screws that come in the bag with these brackets, and you'll see that it lines up with this bottom hole, although I'm seeing that the top doesn't actually line up with any hole at all. And then if we go round to the other side, you can see the bracket lines up with this screw hole here. Again, I can't see it line up with any of the other screw holes. So I think if you are going with an SSD at the front, you'd probably be okay just installing this bottom bracket and not worrying about the top bracket. For a 3.5-inch drive, again, we can add the brackets into place, and we're going to secure it with 4 of the hard drive screws. So again, we can slot our drive into place at the front, and this time if we take a look in from the side, you can see that the 2 holes do line up, so we can use the screws that came with the brackets to secure it at the front. And likewise on the other side, it lines up with the screw holes here, so another 2 screws to secure it here. So I'm going to be installing a 120mm fan on that front bracket. So I'm just going to turn my fan round, and you'll see this is where our fan connector is going to go. So with the fans, we get 3 of these cables. They've got a PWM and ARGB connector on them. So all I'm going to do is line the connector up with the fan and push into place. So I'm going to want to have this fan set to intake at the front, so I'm going to install my brackets to the back of it. We'll just line them up with the holes label 120, and then we'll use 4 of the included fan screws to secure the brackets to the fan. Then we can slide the bracket into place at the front of the case, and we'll secure it into place with 2 of the bracket screws on each side. I'm going to add another 120mm fan at the back set to exhaust, and we'll secure it into place at the back with 4 of the fan screws. In terms of routing this cable, we do have this cable raceway up here for our extension for our power supply. So I'm just going to route this cable up and into this little cable raceway. We're now ready to start working on our motherboard. We're going to be installing our CPU, the bracket for our CPU cooler, our M.2 SSD, and our RAM before we install the motherboard into the case. To open the socket cover, we need to push this lever down and out, bring it all the way to the middle of the motherboard, and then we're going to be able to open the socket cover up. Holding our CPU carefully by the edges and making sure we've got the text the correct way up, we're going to lower it down carefully into the socket. Then once we're happy it's sitting correctly in the socket, we can go ahead and close the socket cover down again. As we close this lever, the white plastic cover will pop off, and we'll put it into our motherboard box for safekeeping. So we're not going to need to use these stock clips to secure our CPU cooler, so we'll go ahead and remove them. They're each held on with 2 screws. Then you're going to want to take the bag of thumb screws labelled AM4, AM5, and we're going to screw one of these onto each corner. To install our M.2 SSD, we're going to need to remove the heatsink, so it's a simple matter of pressing this button down. That's going to free it up, and then we can lift it away. So a little bit unusual, but our Gen 5 M.2 SSD slot is the middle slot, and the one on either side are Gen 4 slots. Normally your Gen 5 slot is the top position on the motherboard. So we can take our Gen 5 drive, we'll line it up with the Gen 5 slot, push it into place, and then all we need to do is flatten it down, and this little clip will hold it in place. We can remove the plastic protection from the back of the heatsink, and then I'm going to replace the heatsink. I'm going to be installing my RAM in the 2nd and 4th slot along from the CPU, so we'll go ahead and open these clips on the motherboard. Then all we need to do is line our RAM up with a slot. Once we're happy everything's lined up, it's just some firm pressure, and it's going to clip into place. And then it's the same thing with our 2nd stick. So just before we insert our motherboard into the case, we're just going to want to check all the standoffs line up with the holes in the motherboard. Now I have checked and our motherboard doesn't have a middle hole, so I'm going to need to remove this middle standoff. So good to see DeepCool include a standoff insertion and removal tool. It simply goes over the middle standoff, and then you're able to use a screwdriver to remove it. We can then insert our motherboard into the case, line that up with the standoffs at the back, and then we'll secure the motherboard into place with the motherboard screws from the case accessory box. So next we've got our case cables to plug in. I'm just going to keep this bracket sitting outside the case and plug the cables in. So into this header down the bottom left hand side of the motherboard, we're going to take our HD audio cable. Into the header at the bottom right hand side of the motherboard, we're going to plug our front panel connectors, and we're going to plug it in with the front panel text facing up the way. Then working up the motherboard, we've got our USB 3.0 header here. So we'll go ahead and line the cable up with the header and push into place. And then just above it, we've got our front panel Type C header. So again, line the cable up and push into place. So if you've got a really big graphics card, having this front I/O panel installed is going to interfere with installing it. I've got a small form factor graphics card, so I'm going to be able to install it no problem with this in place. So I'm going to go ahead and put this panel back into place, and I'll secure it in place with the screws. So next I want to get our case fans plugged in. So our rear fan I've routed along through this cable range strip at the top, and unfortunately the cable is just too short to reach any of our system fan headers at the bottom or side of the motherboard. So I'm going to plug it into our CPU opt header, which is this top fan header here. And we do have a little cutout, we can bring it through, line it up with the header and push into place. And then just below it we have got an ARGB header. So again, I'm going to bring it through and get it plugged into place. And then this excess cable I'm just going to keep in this top channel. Take a look at the bottom, we've got another ARGB and system fan header here. So I'm going to plug our front fan into these headers. So we're now ready to install our power supply, and I've gone ahead and plugged in the cables that we're going to need. So I've plugged in our 24-pin motherboard cable. I plugged in a 12-volt 2x6 cable to power our graphics card, and I plugged in two 8-pin EPS cables to provide additional power to our CPU. We're going to want to install our power supply facing towards the front of the case where its intake fan can get plenty of cool air. So we'll set the bracket into place this way round. Then we'll secure the bracket to our power supply using 4 of the large power supply screws. Then we can set the power supply bracket into place on the front of the case, and we'll secure it into place using the 4 screws. Any power supply we're going to be using an extension cable, you're going to want to make sure you turn the power switch on, and then we'll plug our extension cable in. And we've got a little bit of space for the excess cable in behind our power supply, so we'll just tuck it down the back, and that's going to keep it nicely out of the way. Next, I'm just going to route our EPS cables up behind our power supply, and then again I'm going to bring them through this little cutout into the cable raceway at the top, and then we've got a little cutout here we can bring them down through. You can see we've got our two 8-pin EPS headers here, so we'll go ahead and get those cables plugged into them. And then we'll just route all the excess cable up into that cable raceway at the top. And then I'm just going to pull the excess cable through to the back of the case. So our 24-pin cable is going to go into this header here, but to start with I'm just going to route the cable through to the back of the case. And then I'm just going to bring the cable back through, and we'll get it plugged into the motherboard. In these small form factor builds, I do like to cable manage as I go, and we do have a little section in here where we can manage this 24-pin and our two EPS cables. So I'm just going to do this using some Velcro cable straps. And again, I'm just going to use a cable tie here to keep the cables up and out of the way. I'm also just going to pull the cable coming from our front fans up in behind our power supply as well. Here's the other cables, the USB 3.0 and Type-C cable. I've just routed along here and tucked them in at the front. Our front panels I've just routed along the bottom, and our HD audio cable I've brought straight across, and I'm just going to cable manage these cables to our front panel. So we're now ready to start working our I/O, and it's great to see our fans are pre-installed on the radiator. So all we need to do is connect up the included fan cable. So it's just a matter of plugging one of them into the cable into each of the fans. And then on the other end of this cable, we've got a 4-pin PWM header, which is going to go into our CPU fan header. And we've got a 3-pin 5-volt ARGB cable, and it's going to go into an ARGB header on our motherboard. Coming from our pump, we've got 3 cables, a 4-pin PWM cable, and this is going to go into our I/O pump header on the motherboard. We've got a 3-pin 5-volt ARGB cable to control the lighting effects on the pump, and again it's going to go into an ARGB header on our motherboard. We've got a daisy chainable connector coming from it, so we're actually going to be able to plug our fans and the radiator into here. I mean, we're going to need to use one ARGB header on the motherboard for the whole of the I/O. Final cable is a USB cable, and we'll plug that into a USB 2.0 header on the motherboard, and that's going to allow our pump to get all the system information and display it on the screen. So if we take a closer look at our pump, you can see it's got thermal paste pre-applied. I'll go ahead and remove the plastic protection. So we're just going to need to take care that we don't damage this during the installation. Next thing for us to do is add the brackets to secure to our motherboard. So I'm installing this in an AMD motherboard, so I'm going to line the AMD brackets up, and we'll secure them into place with the included small screws. And then I'm just going to pop the plastic protection back on until we're ready to install things. Next, I'm going to set our top fan stroke radiator bracket into place, and I'm going to secure it using the 8 included short radiator screws. So you'll notice I've only put the screws in loosely, so I am able to slide this bracket a little bit. The reason for this is space is really tight at the top of the case, and I'm only going to be able to install this radiator in a specific place. So what I can do is install it, make sure everything's in the right place, and then I'll tighten these screws up later on. So I've already sized it up, and I want to have my tubes coming out towards the left-hand side of the motherboard. So I'm just going to route my cables up and round the bracket, keeping them organized, making sure they're staying away from the cold plate. And then I'm just going to line the pump up with the motherboard. I'm then just going to want to get a thumb screw onto each corner. I'm just going to double check none of these cables are getting caught in under the cold plate, which they're not. And then I'm just going to tighten up each corner in turn. Then I'm just going to pull all these cables through. So I'm just going to route the PWM cable up to the top and over, and just in beneath our CPU opt header we've got our I/O pump header, and then we'll just pull the excess cable up into this little channel at the top. I'm just going to route our other cables up into the channel as well. So we've got another ARGB header just beneath the one we've already plugged our system fans into. So I'm going to bring the cable back in through, and get it plugged into here. And the ARGB splitter cable I'm just going to leave in this little raceway at the top, and we'll plug our fans on the radiator into it. We've got two USB 2.0 headers down the bottom of the motherboard, so we'll go ahead and get the cable plugged into one of these. And then we'll just tuck all the excess cable in and out of the way at the back. So just before we set our I/O into place at the top, I'm going to join the ARGB cable into that splitter cable coming from our pump. And I'm going to pass the PWM cable through this little cutout, and we'll get it plugged into our CPU fan header. And then I'm just going to pull all the excess cable out to the back, and we'll lower our AIO down and into place. To get our rear bracket to go into place, we're just going to have to push slightly down here, and then we'll be able to slide everything back. And at this stage we can secure the fan stroke radiator bracket down with the 5 screws. And now we've got our AIO in the correct place, we'll go ahead and tighten up the screws holding it to the bracket. And at this stage we can replace our top panel. And we'll secure things into place with the 4 screws. And we can replace the rear panel. And we can remove the plastic protection from the pump. We're now ready to install our graphics card. We're going to need to remove the first and second expansion slot bracket. Next we can go ahead and line our graphics card up with a slot. And once we're happy everything's lined up, it's just some firm pressure and the GPU is going to clip into place. And we'll secure it into place with the 2 screws. Next I need to plug our 12 volt 2x6 cable into the graphics card. And in terms of managing the cable, I'm just going to tuck it in towards the front. And I'm just going to use a Velcro cable strap over here to hold it in place. Last thing to do is replace the tempered glass panel. Okay, so that's the build complete, and I've gone ahead and got everything set up. If you don't know how to install Windows, the drivers, the RGB software, enter the BIOS, update the BIOS, and adjust all the BIOS settings, I've made another video that covers all of that, and you'll find a link to that video in the description. The only thing I won't show you how to do is set up this AIO. All you're simply going to have to do is download DeepCool's Deep Creative software, follow the options for setting it up. There'll be a couple of buttons you might need to press to flip the screen round, and then you can customize what appears on the screen. In terms of our temperatures, our Ryzen 7 9700X idled at 42 degrees and reached a maximum of 73 degrees during a 10-minute IDA64 stability test. The Palette 5070 idled at 34 degrees and reached a maximum of 63 degrees during the stability test. In terms of noise, we had average noise levels of 33 decibels at idle and 43 decibels under load. So really impressed with what DeepCool have done with the CH160 Plus. It's a really simple case to build in, provided you follow the build order that I've gone with, and I think cable manage as you go is definitely going to work better than leaving it all to the end. In terms of the case, I don't have any information on the pricing yet, but if it's anything like the original CH160, DeepCool won't be asking an awful lot for it. And this is a great way to get a really cheap small form factor case. It's going to be really portable with the handle on the top, and you can use a micro ATX motherboard instead of a mini ATX motherboard, a standard ATX power supply instead of an SFX power supply, and it's a way of getting a reasonably small compact case and avoiding the ITX tax. So hopefully you have found this video useful. If you have, please remember to give it a thumbs up, and if you're not currently subscribed to the channel, please hit the subscribe button as well.